Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see about remainder properties. To solve problems based on remainder properties, we need to have some idea about the basic properties in remainders and negative remainders, and we need to know about some cyclicity, how to find out the cyclicity for some problems, and we need to know some basic theorems that will be useful when we are solving problems based on remainders. So first, we need to know about the basic properties in the remainders, which is remainder of a plus b by m will always be equal to remainder of a by m plus remainder of b by m. We can split the remainders based on addition, subtraction, multiplication, and even powers. So remainder of a into b by m will definitely be equal to remainder of a by m into remainder of b by m, and so on. Remainder of a power x by m will be equal to remainder of a by m to the whole power x. So we'll see few examples. Remainder of 9978 when divided by 11. So remainder of 9900 when divided by 11 plus remainder of 78 by 11. I can split 9978 as 9900 plus 78. So 9900 when divided by 11, the remainder is 0. 78 when divided by 11, the remainder is 1. So overall I can say my remainder is 1. Remainder of 1960 when divided by 13, what is the remainder? So 1960 can be written as 2000 minus 40. So remainder of 2000 by 13 minus remainder of 40 by 13 will give me the answer. So 2000 when divided by 13, the remainder is 11. 40 when divided by 13, the remainder is 1. So finally we need to subtract 11 minus 1. So we'll get 10. Remainder of 4913 when divided by 15, what is the remainder? 4913 is nothing but 17 cube. So we can split it as remainder of 17 by 15 into remainder of 17 by 15 into remainder of 17 by 15. 17 by 15, the remainder is 2. So we can say our final remainder will be 2 into 2 into 2, which is 8. And remainder of 19 power 201 when divided by 18 will definitely be equal to remainder of 19 by 18 to the whole power 201. 19 when divided by 18, the remainder is 1. So 1 by 18 to the whole power 201. So 1 power 201, so our answer will be 1. So now we see an example. When a number n divided by 11, the remainder is 5. When the cube of the number is divided by 11, what is the remainder? So now we'll see. We know the number remainder n by 11 is equal to 5. So cube of the number, I can use the product rule. So remainder of n by 11 into remainder of n by 11 into remainder of n by 11. So which means 5 into 5 into 5. I cannot say that 125 is my remainder because 125 is greater than my divisor. So I need to again divide by 11. So 125 and divided by 11, the remainder is 4. Right? So now we go on to the next concept of negative remainders. So what is a negative remainder? So usually when the divisor, when the dividend is less than the divisor, we say that will be our remainder. For example, 18 when divided by 19, the remainder will be 18 because 18 is less than 19. If you use the concept of negative remainder, then the remainder will be minus 1. So to obtain negative remainder, we just subtract the remainder minus divisor. So 44 when divided by 53, the remainder is minus 9. We can say 44 is our remainder, or we can say minus 9 is our remainder. So 8787 when divided by 11, what will be the remainder? By using the concept of negative remainder, we'll just apply it. The remainder of 8800 by 11 minus remainder of 13 by 11. So 8787 can be written as 8800 minus 13. So that's why we have split it. So 8800 is exactly divisible by 11. So the remainder is 0. 13 when divided by 11, the remainder is 2. So 0 minus 2 will get minus 2 as our answer. But we cannot say minus 2 is our remainder. So after finding out the negative remainder, we need to subtract that value from our divisor. So our answer will be 11 minus 2, 9 is the remainder. Okay. Whenever we are getting the negative remainder, that we need to subtract it from the divisor to get the absolute value of the remainder. So by using the negative remainder concept also, we can solve the problem. And finally, the cyclicity rule, which we have already applied when we are solving problems based on units digit. So it is nothing but we are going to find out the pattern for any number and going to apply that pattern and find out the remainder for the particular number. We'll go with an example directly so that we can get a clear idea about how to solve the problems by using cyclicity method. So find the remainder when 25 power 65 when divided by 9. So we know we can apply the rule a power m by n, the rule. So 25 power 65 when divided by 9, we can say 25 by 9 the whole power 65. The remainder of 25 by 9 will give me 7. So 7 by 9 to the whole power 65. I cannot say my remainder is 7 because we have a power 65 here. So remainder of 7 power 65 when divided by 9, what is the remainder? So now after this, we need to find out the cyclicity. Going from the lower powers, like 7 power 1 when divided by 9, the remainder is 7. Next, 7 square when divided by 9, the remainder is 4 because 7 square is 49. 49 when divided by 9, the remainder is 4. Now next we need to go for 7 cube when divided by 9. So I don't want to find out what is 7 cube and then divide by 9. What I can do is just multiply this value by 7 and then divide that value by 9 because we know remainders can be multiplied. So 4 into 7 is 28. So 28 when divided by 9, our remainder will be 1. Once we have arrived at the value 1 or we found out any repetition, we can stop because after that again definitely it is going to repeat. So our pattern will be like 741, 741, 741, like that it move on. There are 3 cycles, so we need to divide the power by 3. So 65 when divided by 3, we get remainder 2. So which means we need to pick the second value. Our answer will be 4. If we have gotten a value which is exactly divisible by 3, our value would have been 1. If instead of 65, if we are having 64, our answer would have been 7. Okay. So if there are 3 cycles, I need to divide the power by 3 and then based on the remainder, I'm going to take. If there are 6 cycles, I will divide the power by 6 and based on the remainder, we'll just decide what will be our answer. Same way, find the remainder when 11 power 705 is divided by 17. Okay. So here, remainder 11 power 705 by 17. Remainder of 11 by 17 to the whole power 705. Okay, just I have taken 11 by 17 outside because I need to make it as an even power. Without finding out the cyclicity, we are going to find out the answer. That's why I have taken alternate approach. If you want, we can also directly go for cyclicity from here itself. 11 power 1 when divided by 17, what is the remainder? 11 square when divided by 17, what is the remainder? We can find out the cyclicity. But this is an alternate approach. Okay, 11 when divided by 17, we can use the concept of negative remainder here. So 11 minus 17 is minus 6. Okay, so but it is an even power, so negative will become positive. So remainder of 11 by 17 into remainder of 6 power 704 when divided by 17. Remainder of 11 by 17 is 11. Remainder of 6 power 704 by 17, I can write this as 36 power 352 because 6 square is 36. So we need to divide the power by 2 if I have to bring 36 here. So remainder of 36 power 352 when divided by 17. Okay. So 36 when divided by 17 will get remainder 2. So 2 power 352 divided by 7. So we cannot leave the power as it is. Now again what we can do? So 2 power 352 can be written as 4 power 176. 4 power 176 I can further write it as 16 power 88. So 11 into remainder of 16 by 17 to the whole power 88. So why I have made this as 16 by 17 means because we can have the value 1. 16 when divided by 17, our remainder is 16. If we take negative remainder, our remainder is minus 1. So minus 1 to the whole power 88, it will be 1. Since we are having already 11 here, so 11 into 1, our answer will be 11. Okay, so this is also another way in which we can solve the problem. Okay, so if you want cyclicity method, you can directly apply that rule. 11 power 1 when divided by 17, what is the remainder? 11 power 2 when divided by 17, what is the remainder? Definitely we will be having some pattern and based on the power we can divide and then find out the answer. So say here, what is the remainder in 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial and so on till 100 factorial is divided by 18. So when we have a larger number like this, we can split it like 1 factorial when divided by 18, what is the remainder? 1 factorial is 1. 1 when divided by 18, the remainder is 1. Next to 2 factorial. 2 factorial is 2. 2 when divided by 18, the remainder is 2. 3 factorial is 6. 6 when divided by 18, the remainder is 6. 4 factorial is 24. 24 when divided by 18, again the remainder is 6. 5 factorial is 120. 120 when divided by 18, the remainder is 12. 6 factorial is 720. 720 when divided by 18, the remainder is 0. So once we get for 6 factorial itself, if the remainder is 0, then 7 factorial also contains 6 factorial in it. So after that, till 100, everything, the remainder will be 0. Okay. Now, in order to find out the remainder, just we can add only the values which we have till 5 factorial. Like remainder of this 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6 plus 12. Okay, so we get 27, but 27 is greater than 18. So again, we need to divide this 27 by 18 so that we'll get the remainder 9. Similar way, one more problem. 1 factorial to the whole power 1 plus 2 factorial to the whole square plus 3 factorial to the whole cube and so on till 1152 factorial to the whole power 1152. When divided by 1152, what is the remainder? So again, we can split it. 1 factorial is 1. 1 when divided by 1152, the remainder is 1. So I have prime factorized this 1152 as 24 into 24 into 2. Okay, just it will be easy for us to decide when will they be exactly divisible or not. 2 factorial is 2. So 2 square is 4. 4 when divided by 1152, the remainder is 4. 3 factorial is 6. 6 cube, it is 216. 216 when divided by 1152, the remainder is 216. 4 factorial is 24. 24 to the whole power 4 when divided by 1152, which is nothing but 24 into 24 into 2, it is completely divisible. So we get remainder 0. For 4 factorial itself, if it is exactly divisible, then after that for all the numbers, it will be definitely exactly divisible, which means the remainder will be 0. So our final answer will be addition of 1 plus 4 plus 216, which is 225. Remainder when 10 power 10 plus 10 power 100 plus 10 power 1000 and so on till 10 power 1 followed by 10 zeros is divided by 7. What is the remainder? So here we can apply the same rule. We find individually first. Remainder of 10 power 10 when divided by 7. Okay, so here 10 is there, so we can directly go for cyclicity rule. So 10 power 1 when divided by 7, the remainder is 3. 10 square when divided by 7, the remainder is 2. Okay, I don't want to find out 10 cube 1000 when divided by 7. Just multiply this 2 by 10. 2 into 10, 20. 20 when divided by 7, the remainder is 6. For next value, 6 into 10, 60. 60 when divided by 7, the remainder is 4. Again for the next value, 4 into 10 when divided by 7, the remainder is 5. Next value, 5 into 10 when divided by 7, the remainder is 1. So once we got 1, which means that the cycle is going to repeat after 6 cycles. Since there are 6 cycles, I need to divide the power by 6. So 10 when divided by 6, we get remainder 1. So if remainder is, remainder 4. 10 when divided by 6, the remainder is 4. So fourth value we need to take, which is 4. Okay. So now same, since everything has 10 as our value. So now 100 when divided by 6, again we get remainder 4. So fourth value will be taking 4. 1000 when divided by 6, the remainder is 4. So again we'll get the value 4. So which means we got the pattern. Our value is going to be 4 plus 4 plus 4 till all the value. So 10 fours will be there. So 10 fours will give me 40. 40 is greater than 7. So again we need to divide this 40 by 7 and we get remainder 5. Okay, so always whenever we get a value which are additionally separated with the larger values, we can just split it and divide one by one, and definitely we'll be able to get the pattern. and then we'll be able to solve the problem easily. Some commonly made mistakes is there by students. I'll just let you know. When 21 power 35 is divided by 28, what is the remainder? So what they do is, applying the rule to a remainder of 21 by 28 to the whole power 35. 21 and 28 both are divisible by 7, they divide it. And we get remainder of 3 by 4 to the whole power 35. So which means 3 by 4, we can say the remainder is minus 1. Remainder of minus 1 to the whole power 35. It is minus 1 or 3. Okay. But is this correct? No. It's a wrong approach, because let's consider a number. 15 when divided by 10, what is the remainder? The remainder has to be 5. But when you simplify, what is happening? 15 when divided by 10, you get 3 by 2. So 3 by 2, the remainder is 1. Whether 5 and 1 is same? No. Right? So simplifying is not wrong, but whatever the values which we are cancelling, finally we need to multiply that value with the final result. For example, here we have divided the number by 5. So I need to multiply the final answer 1 by 5 in order to get the correct answer. Okay. So here we cannot stop the answer which that were just 3. Here we have divided both by 7, or we have taken 7 common outside. So we need to find the value product of 3 into 7. That will be our answer. Okay, this is the commonly made mistake. You can simplify it, but after simplifying, you need to multiply with the value which we have commonly taken out or which we have cancelled out. Based on the logic, here is one more problem. What is the remainder when 2 into 8 factorial minus 21 into 6 factorial divides 14 into 7 factorial plus 14 into 13 factorial? So here, this number, like first number, divides this number. So which means this is the divisor and this will be our dividend. Okay, most of them just interchange and take it, but the actual process is this number divides this number, right? So this will be our divisor and this will be our dividend. This is the number which we are going to divide by this number. So now we'll just simplify this. 2 into 8 factorial minus 21 into 6 factorial. Take 6 factorial common outside. We'll get 16 into 7 factorial minus 3 into 7 factorial, and you get 13 into 7 factorial as our divisor. So now 14 into 7 factorial plus 14 into 13 factorial divided by 13 into 7 factorial. We want to find out the remainder. Since addition is there, we can separate it. 14 into 7 factorial when divided by 13 into 7 factorial plus remainder of 14 into 13 factorial divided by 13 into 7 factorial. So 14 into 13 factorial. 13 factorial means 13 into 12 into 11 into 10 into till 12 factorial, right? So 13 will be cancelled, and apart from the 7 factorial will also get cancelled. So which means this number is exactly divisible by this number. So remainder is 0. Here 7 factorial we can cancel or take commonly outside. So we'll get remainder of 14 by 13. 14 by 13, the remainder is 1. So 7 factorial into 1 plus 0. So our answer is 7 factorial. Here commonly made mistake, what they will do? 7 factorial you will cancel, and then you will say your answer is 1 plus 0, 1. But that is not the right answer. Here when you cancel the value, final answer you need to multiply with that value. Okay. So 7 factorial into 1 will be 7 factorial will be our answer. And commonly used formulas, right? A power n plus b power n is always divisible by a plus b when n is an odd number. For example, 3 power 50 plus 5 power 50 when divided by 34, what is the remainder? Here our definition is based on an odd number, so we'll convert it into an odd power. Like 3 power 50 can be written as 9 power 25 plus 5 power 50 can be written as 25 power 25. So both are odd now. So a power n plus b power n will definitely be divisible by a plus b, which means 9 plus 25, which is 34. So 9 power 25 plus 25 power 25 will definitely be divisible by 34, which means our remainder will be 0. Based on the same concept, a power n minus b power n will always be divisible by a plus b. 33 power 5620 minus 12 power 5620 will definitely be divisible by 45. A power n minus b power n will always be divisible by a minus b for all the values of n. Even if it is an odd number or an even number, this satisfies. 57 power 109 minus 32 power 109 will be definitely divisible by 25. And we have Fermat's theorem, states that for any two positive natural numbers n and p, if they are co-primes to each other, then the remainder obtained will be when n power psi of p when divided by Euler of p. Euler, we call this symbol as Euler number, Euler of p. So now to find an Euler of a number, so n power Euler number of p when divided by p will always have remainder 1. This is the rule. To find the Euler of a number, for example, Euler of 9 is 6. Just write down the numbers from 1 to 9 and remove all the numbers which have the same factors as 9 except 1. So 3 has a factor of 9, 6 has a factor of 9, both share 3 as a common factor, 9 has a common factor. So from this 9, if we remove these 3 numbers, we get 6 numbers. So that will be our Euler. So Euler of 17. 17 is a prime number, which means except 17, all the numbers will not have any common factor. So Euler of 17 will be 16. Okay, now we'll see an example so that it will be easy to understand. Find the remainder when 11 power 705 is divided by 17. Okay, so 11 and 17 are co-primes, so we can use Fermat's theorem. So 17, Euler of 17 will be 16, right? So 11 power multiple of 16 we are going to take outside, which means 44 into 16 is 704. So 44 into 16 plus 1. So I can separate this as 11 power 44 into 16 into 11 power 1, right? So as per the Fermat's rule, 11 power 44 into 16 when divided by 17, our remainder will definitely be 11, right? 11 power Euler of p when divided by p will always be remainder 1. Then we are left with just 11 power 1. 11 power 1 when divided by 17, the remainder is 11. So 1 into 11, our answer will be 11. Okay. So whenever we want to apply Fermat's theorem, we just want to check whether this number and the divisor both are co-primes. If both are co-primes, then definitely we can apply this rule and then we can find out the answer. Thank you. Please practice more problems so that you can feel easy and comfortable with this particular topic. Thank you.